Hey everybody, back again with our Sunday sesh on Cannabis Chronicles. We got Outlaw Grower 420 and Desert Growth Spurt here. Finally making it back to another Sunday sesh. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties over the last couple of weeks. But so how you doing this morning, Outlaw?
Good. I got my computer, so the technical difficulties are over.
Well, let's knock on wood because man, there's always something with these things.
Yeah, right.
So we do how we do. What are you smoking on this morning?
I have a cone. King cone. I got the bigger ones this time. I really like them.
Nice. Inside still growing or smoking what you grew?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nice. Samey. Yeah, I'm rolling that blueberry big devil. So let's go ahead and get this morning started off right. All right. So what's new? You were telling me you're about to pull the trigger on a new light here.
Yeah. So I found it's a 640 watt 5x5.
Nice.
Yeah.
The bar style or panel?
Bars, 8 bars.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, it's like 20. I think it's like 2,100 diodes. You see, let me get my thing here.
Sure. That's exciting. Because currently you are running a board style light, correct?
Yeah.
This is a pretty nice upgrade getting the 8 bar.
Yeah, I like the one that I got. It's about good enough for like one plant.
Sure.
And I've got a 5x5 tank. So
Time to try to fill it up.
yeah, might as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's trying to remember the name of the company. I think it's like Philison. Flizon.
Okay.
And it's got the 561 diodes in it, which you and I have been talking for a while. We both have been checking it out, and they're really close.
Yeah.
And for the price difference, it's almost like half the price.
Yeah, you definitely save quite a bit, which I wish I wouldn't. Well, again,
I think what you got is primo.
It's working out pretty good for me.
Yeah, you have no regrets on that. Yeah.
And now, have you actually officially bought it? I know you had been hunting, kind of getting it down to one, and I know. So this is the one. Have you actually pulled the trigger, or is that coming here in the next couple days?
Soon. I finally, because I've been going back and forth on price with somebody.
Sure.
And I got them to the price that I want now, and I finally accepted. So
good deal. That's awesome. That is awesome. So the last time we talked, you're all trimmed up, right? All trimmed up and in jars and kind of just waiting on that last batch. I'm all done. So we were kind of joking, off air that, hey, what are we going to talk about? So I think on that inspirational note, staying motivated, okay? Kind of hard to stay motivated sometimes. Myself right now, I do have some plants. I'm literally a few days away from this coming up Wednesday. I'm going to flip them into flower. So to me, veg time's kind of boring. It's a lot of training, so the plants don't ever look pretty, because you're always in there twisting and kind of just beating them down. So it's, for me personally, it's kind of a boring time, you're just getting it ready for a flower. And then when flower hits, it's all exciting and little, you can see the end result, a little bit more. So staying motivated. I've been having some issues with that, and wondering if you come across issues trying to stay motivated, getting out in the garden when it's not as an exciting of time.
Let's see. Well, my work was pretty busy when I had mine in veg and flower this last round. So I was like, I didn't have a problem like like getting itchy, wanting it to speed up as you do when you're more bored. I got the winter coming up now where I'm gonna be laid off, and I salt spread this and that a little, but I'll be off a lot, and I'll have to see how I am then. I'll probably, be a little more antsy then and less motivated.
Yeah, that's so I just been sick. That's why I still don't sound 100%. But it was pretty easy for me to not go in the garden at this time. That nothing really needed watering. However, part of my being sick and also lack of motivation. So I had made some clippings, and I was doing some clones from some of my gals in there. And when I went down for a couple days, I had let a couple of those clones get away from me. What I mean by that is I overwatered the little bin that they're in, and they were covered in algae by the time I got back to it. So that kind of remotivated me to make sure that my other little batch of clones are going to be absolutely fine, because I just lost 10 of them. So they were going to be gifts. I was going to end up keeping one probably, but it is what it is. That's shame on me. And
but yeah, now if you want to still give 10 away, you're going to have to take another 10 coalize off.
Yeah, no, now they're all mine now. They're all trimmed up. And yeah, I did do my final trimming right before flower, which I guess we'll talk about that real quick. During your veg time, me personally, I don't do a lot of cutting leaves off. I'll do some leaf tucks if some leaves are blocking, some new growth. But I try my best not to really cut any leaves up until right about a week, right before I kick them into flower. That's when I'll go ahead and do my lollipopping. I'll clear off that whole bottom third of the plant, so it has real good airflow through all the branches down to the soil. And that way the plant's also just focusing now on all the flowering sites. So I just went through and I did my huge default. So I took, not with my hands, but I took like a huge handful off of each plant worth, just cutting around the bottom, like I said, about a third of the way up. And then after the 2 weeks of stretch in the flower, I'll do one last clearing, like trimming. Anything that's not going to develop, I'll go ahead and get rid of it, because I don't want the plant spending energy on any of the lower stuff. But I'll still be very careful and try not to cut off really any fan leaves. I'll see a lot of people cut off a lot of fan leaves, and you don't really want to do that. That's the solar panel for your plant. You want to take them off where you don't want it to have growth. So
get rid of the dead ones though, right?
Okay, well, knock on wood, I don't have any dead leaves, man. Like this run, good God, I'm not trying to jinx myself, but like, no, I actually right now, there was one leaf on one plant like early on down on the bottom, pulled that off. There's never been a bad leaf since. Now, knocking on wood again, but yeah, no, yeah. If you start getting sickly leaves, absolutely take them off. If keep them on, try and figure out what's going on. Use it as your marker, but definitely take it off because the plant is going to be constantly spending energy trying to fix that.
Yeah.
So you leave it on to figure it out, and once you have it like figure, whatever deficiency, toxicity, however it is you address the situation, then you get rid of that. Because then
because the leaf never comes back.
Correct.
99%. You can see what it, what changes you need to make, but then the leaf isn't gonna, get better and heal.
Correct. Yeah.
So do pluck it eventually once you've, made your corrections.
Exactly. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I did the lollipopping. All my branches have been trained. They're done. They are kind of naturally starting to, come back together, but that's all right because now there's just so many. It's kind of I'm not using a scrog net, but it's kind of fairly even canopy for just being a giant bush with almost a flat top.
Just doing your training, you've
just doing the training.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Did you now I can't remember. Did you do any topping on these plants?
Every plant got one.
Okay.
Yeah, I did every plant got one early on, like early on.
Mm-hmm.
But then no, it's all just been, breaking that cell wall, stem rubbing, getting it, and then like bending it down. And I use those little green flexi wires,
I like those. I've been using a different kind just because I had it, but
sure,
I do want to get the green wires. Those are
they're super convenient, man. I'm thankful we just got a grow store in our areas and they have all that stuff. So I'm constantly there just buying little, I need one of these. That's gonna make my life easier.
Yeah, I used to use like the stakes they use for tents.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then string.
Yeah, and tie them down. Yep.
My outdoor plants, yeah.
I still see a lot of people do that with indoor.
Yeah, I have done some with the string. And then I found some of that wire laying around and I just used that. It was kind of like hobby wire.
Yeah. And that's just it, and over time is when you can accumulate to buy all these things. Everything can be done with, DIY, doing it yourself. We don't need to go out and buy the fancy green UV coated blah. It's nice, but that's because we've been doing it a while. We've been able to save the money that we haven't been buying. So, but yeah, no, dude, string is exactly, you punch some holes in a bucket or a cup and you use a string, you tie that branch down. You don't need to go out and spend money on anything. You need some string, okay? I mean, there is some cost, I guess, but go buy a kite.
The string is I'll say this, the string is less convenient because the wire you can just bend it. When you need to stretch it, move it a little bit, you move it and bend it real quick. The string you gotta untie it, retie it. It's
of course. But one of those little green bindles is like $12-13.
Yeah.
I'm on my second spindle already. So that's just from these plants. So it adds up, all these little but then again, it's reusable. I reuse the same pieces. So
yes. That's why, with the wire that I'm using right now, I make it extra long for whatever I'm doing so that, the next time around I can use it again.
Exactly.
Instead of making short pieces and going, oh man, this next time, yeah, it worked that time, but this time now it doesn't work for anything.
Well, and that's why, amongst other reasons, why I use the Home Depot buckets. You know,
Mm.
I've been using those grow after grow. You just rinse them out, dude. They're fine. You know,
Oh yeah, that's
I have a buddy who exclusively will use fabric pots, and those things are so nasty. And he tries washing them, but he still has to buy new ones every, couple cycles.
I've been curious about those, but I just haven't wanted to spend any money on them because like you say, I've got 5 gallon buckets that,
They work great.
yeah, I just can reuse them. So, and I have 3 gallon buckets too, the square size 3 gallon buckets that, uh, they're good for something.
They're great for veg all day.
And, for someone that, you know, needed, like a certain amount of space
Uh-huh.
because they can fit together.
Yep. Yeah, exact, because they're square.
Yeah, because they're square.
Yeah, see, and that's an issue I am running into. All right. So my last run of autos, I had 8 autos. I didn't do any training. So they all grew pretty much straight up. Okay. There was no, I mean,
Yeah.
a couple of them bush naturally, but it was pretty much just all like straight up Christmas trees. Well, this time I only got 3 plants. And it's starting to get awkward to have 3 buckets in there because of how they're spreading out. Then
Yeah.
once these things flower and they start like really flopping, oh, I'm gonna be like they're gonna be supporting each other there at the end.
You have a net at all?
No, no. So in the past, I recently I've been tinkering with that room. Before, I actually had some 2x4s running along the side just for some shelves. I originally had shelves in there.
Mm.
So it was just some 2x4s. So what I would do is I would just take string and run it across to support, just so they wouldn't flop
Yeah.
over and break.
Yeah.
But then I recently took those out so I could better insulate the room to keep the humidity and, well, now the heat kind of.
You have studs in the wall though, right?
Oh, of course. Oh yeah, I can still.
Do some like eye hooks or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. I just
Just
it's just because I've lined the whole.
have it.
It's just kind of a bitch now to find because I lined the wall with all that material. I'm just being lazy. That's really, let's be honest. Hey, not motivated. That's really when my girls are flopping, I'm gonna be motivated, and then it's gonna be
You're gonna be like, oh no, I gotta get this done.
I gotta hurry up and get these strings in. They're all gonna break and shit. Yeah.
That's
New light though, very exciting, man. Very, very exciting. Are you just curious? Do you plan on changing anything else on your next like actual run? Now that you have a new, I'm just curious, throwing you on the spot, but new light, do you plan on changing soil, changing nutrients, changing anything, any other factors? I have no idea. I'm just throwing it out there.
no, I kind of like that Fox Farm that I've been using for the soil.
Yeah.
Nutrients. I mean, yeah, I got them here if I need them. Training and topping, I'm doing the same as I've done before, and I actually kind of wish I was doing it a little different. I wanted to try, and I was gonna ask you if you've ever done it. Actually, is I wanted to try what I've seen a lot of people that don't top, and they just bend it.
Yep.
and then go from there. And I'm curious, what if you've done that before, or if you'll, because I always top. I'm gonna be honest, I've always
Yeah.
top.
Well, that's actually one of them. That's what I did when I bent her down. Now she's one of the ones that ended up getting topped just to keep the growth even because I needed to slow it down.
Mm-hmm.
But I only used, I take that back. That's not true. That wasn't that one. I apologize. No, these all did get topped early on because I wanted to spin them around the bucket. So I apologize. I did top all of these. But then the one I did immediately lay down and then spun her around. But from the get-go, yeah, just bending her down because then it just doesn't stop the growth at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas the topping will stunt it for a few days.
Yeah.
And again, that's the pro and the con, so as long that's quote unquote the reason why people don't top autos is because you're stunting the growth.
Which, yeah, I get that. But with the photos, I mean, if you just bend it this way, my thoughts are it's just the plant is, it's growing this way.
Oh, no, it's going to instantly try and come back up.
Well, no, I get that, it'll do that and you keep bringing it down. But, with my topping it, it's bringing it both ways.
Right.
I feel it. And then them side ones are going this way. So, I mean, I feel like it gives it more of a radius. Whereas just bending it over brings it this way, which I wanted to try it myself to see.
Sure. So when you take it, all right, and so right off the bat, you've got just growth up at the top, right? So you bend it over.
Yeah.
Now it's going to start making shoots up here. All right. So then this is going to try and come back up. You keep bending it, and then you take that one branch, spin that around, let all of those arms come up off of it, and you just use the main stem as basically the feeding tube for all of those.
So you'll keep it going. Okay, I thought maybe as it's going up, and then you just bend it and you just keep so it'd go.
Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, no. You bend it, and then usually by the time you get back around, to like where you started, depending on how big the bucket is, right, and environment and all that. But like at that point, usually you're ready for flower. It's been about a month or so to get it all the way around, and you keep bending it down and new tops. And so you can accomplish all of it the same way. But then again, there's not really, I don't know how much time you would save by not topping if that's just what you're trying to accomplish. Because then if you top it, it might be.
That's what I was wondering. I mean, is your plant if you don't top it, I mean, that little bit of a delay, is it going to make that big of a difference?
So I guess big picture, no, but it will depend on like your situation. Like, okay, if you're outside, and you have to harvest before Farmer Joe gets his corn, you may not want to top. You might want to just let that plant hurry up and try and finish. But if you have full control and it's no big deal, then yeah,
out in the field, see, you have a longer grow period when you're doing it outdoors.
Yeah,
I mean, when it's outdoors, I top like 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, I'll go out there right away. I top it, when I'm still growing it indoors, and then when I put it out there, I top everything again, and then do a little training, and then you go out there, do a little more topping, bam, 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 and usually like 3 times, not 4 times.
too much.
I don't know why I said 4.
Sure.
3 times, yeah. 2 or 3 times is what I should have said.
Yeah, no,
Because
no.
there's been times I've only topped it like twice.
It would be interesting because when I'm doing my pheno hunt, I could technically try that.
What?
Let see which one would like. So if you take 2 clones, okay, because then they would be.
Oh, topping and then not topping.
Yep, and literally, all
Side
things
by side.
being
Yeah, yeah.
equal,
Same way. Yeah.
same quote unquote buckets, but one you top and then the other you just spin around. And being they
Yeah,
would,
you don't
if
do
they're
it.
clones,
They
they are
should.
true snapshots of the same thing. And with all things being equal, I think that would be a good actual experiment to see.
I agree. I agree. I think you should do that.
I think I am gonna do that.
Because I'm curious because it's just, as I've said before, I'm not new to growing, but I am new to the indoor growing. And
All this
I've always topped. Outdoors, I've just always topped. So it's what I'm doing right now. But as I mentioned to you the other night, I was checking somebody out on YouTube and they don't top.
right. Yeah. Right.
So I mean, and I was watching his training, and it's all. I mean, it was almost like an assembly line. It was just one green tie to like hold the main stem, and then another to bend the
Yeah.
top part. And it's just boom, 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 and he was doing that to every plant, and I'm like, well, I'm always interested in new ideas. I mean, obviously it's not a new idea to me.
Right.
And yeah, I don't want to, make it seem like it's a brand new idea. But yeah, new ideas to me, I'm always interested in, learning more about them and, in some cases even trying it myself.
Yeah, a lot of people with a lot more experience that I'm always trying to like get some kind of new tip, trick, something. That again, a lot of I'm new, man. I do a decent job for myself, but like, yeah, there's so many people that are so good. Lots of just little.
Yes. Which I mean, yeah, I've said I've been growing for many, many years, but it's outdoor. It was, most of the time I just put it out there, let nature do its thing.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a whole lot to learn. I mean, there was little, the basics,
Yeah.
and then it was like the stuff that I see now just blows me away. How good some people have become at this.
I will say that something that it is a lot of it is going to boil down to the genetics, because I know some real good growers that there have been certain, not strains, but I guess maybe from certain breeders that just their stuff it's rough, man. Like it might smoke good, but it looks terrible. Or vice versa. Oh, it looks amazing.
And then
Garbage, like it. So
and that's I like the pretty looking bud, but I'd take something that just looked straight horrible if it was like the best I've ever smoked.
Yeah.
Tastes good and got me pleasantly. Yeah, I would love that, but yeah, some of them are able to make it look pretty, taste pretty, smell pretty. I mean, I'm amazed at the stuff that I didn't know before.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we're all from the brick ditch days, and that was all there was. So we didn't know about all this smelled good, tastes good stuff. Like, no, it was
Yeah.
just brown, and you had to get all the critters and the
Yep.
stems and the seeds out.
Yep. And then even after that, when it wasn't brickweed, we were still in the early stages that people weren't taking the male plants out because we still had great weed that wasn't
Oh.
brickweed.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, are we saying? Do I need to re-say that?
No, no.
Are we saying weed?
I,
Sorry.
the
Some
brick,
things we're trying not to get like parental advisory for or something. So sorry. Anyway, so yeah, it was great weed, but it still had seeds in it. And I mean, obviously, I wasn't growing back in high school, so I didn't know that it was just as simple as getting rid of the male plant, whoever was growing this stuff.
right?
So it's like we were in an odd stage. Yeah, we saw the brickweed, then the we called it regs,
Yeah, yeah,
and it was good, really good weed. I wish I could even find that kind of stuff, but it was it was really good weed, but it still had seeds in it.
yeah,
And then there was, if you wanted dank, it was just seedless, basically. I mean, it was really those days it was real dank, and then for a while, the weed became like everybody was calling their stuff dank if it didn't have seeds in it.
yep.
Even though it wasn't, you're like, this dude, just because it don't have seeds, this ain't dank. Like, yeah, it is. It ain't got no seeds in it, right? And like, no. And so yeah, then we started getting to a point where it was like they called that mids.
Yeah, yeah,
It was better weed with no seeds, but it wasn't quite that high level stuff that you could still find that was dank
yeah.
or whatever you guys call it, loud,
Yeah.
dank.
Oh, all these good. Yeah, no, and it's funny because now it's all like that's kind of the land race stuff everyone's going after. The lost strains.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. Creeper. I loved Creeper. If
Yeah.
anybody remembered Creeper,
Yeah.
or if you have a seed for Creeper, man, let us know. I miss that stuff. It was just you smoke it and it ain't hitting me, man. Next
Yeah.
thing you know, it's just boom, it hits you.
Oh, man. Good stuff.
Good old
Well,
days.
I'm glad we were finally able to get together for Sunday morning. I know you got
Yeah.
a whole day planned ahead of you. I gotta go ahead and get breakfast rolling for the fam. So I will on that note, I want to remind everyone, catch us on Instagram under the same names, Outlaw Grower 420 and Desert Growth Spurt. And we will catch you guys next Sunday.